Hello, I'm Lakshmi Anand and welcome to this episode of In Tune featuring Anantha R. Krishnan. This Ivy League educated Mridangist from an illustrious lineage is a multifaceted artist who looks at art itself with broad horizons. With no false humility, humbug or hesitation, our chat was vibrant, refreshing and thought-provoking. You'll hear excerpts where he candidly opines on sticky issues like people walking out before the Taniyavartanam, that is, the percussion solo, women in percussion, or the lack of them, the tricky process of tuning at a concert, and his own relationship with his instrument. The episode will conclude with a compact Mridangam solo by Sri Anantha. For the full, detailed interview on Anantha R. Krishnan and many more Indian classical musicians, visit lakshmianand.com, lakshmianand.com.
So it's definitely very clear that the Mridangam is absolutely primary and the main thing for you, right?
Oh yeah.
So
I think I'm pretty primary for the Mridangam too. There's enough evidence that I think like skill is very different than kind of the romance of how do you connect with this instrument. You know, there are people who've been far less faster, far less louder, or far less these kind of very rubric-oriented like metrics or whatever you want to call these metrics. You know, you could find a way like this guy was this fast, this lady was this fast, this X was this
RPM.
Yeah, whatever, right? And so that's skill. But then like, you know, this other person who was not any of those things, you know, played something that just melted your heart. So what's that about? So that's where I think there's enough evidence where that instrument is also saying like, come on, you know, I'm giving this to you. Just engage, figure it out. So that's, I would, without sounding like there's any entitlement, because it could go any minute. It takes a second to jam my finger in this thing and then it's done. But I would still say there is evidence that as much as I feel important to the Mridangam, I think the Mridangam feels my importance.
The trend of people getting up the second the Taniyavartanam starts. You always have a few who will choose that precise moment to get up and leave.
But I'll tell you the other thing. It might not be so obvious, because I know people who have walked in for the Taniyavartanam and left after the Taniyavartanam. It doesn't have to do with my playing at all.
I know that as well.
You know what I mean? There are people like that too.
I know.
So I don't really want to be in the situation to say like the audience is expected to do anything, or I expect them to do it. The fact that they show up there is like amazing. They could be doing so many things. They choose to come and spend some portion of their time with us. That's a privilege. How can you tell them not to leave just because there's such a sense of, you know, like entitlement? I mean, come on. You know, they want to go whenever they want to go. It happens to be doing the Taniyavartanam. But then here's the challenge. Can you do enough in the concert
what I was coming to.
where
that was my question.
They're like, you know what? This guy's, you know, or this woman is good enough that, yeah, he could do a solo, but I've already been satisfied with whatever they're doing, and it's really good. Or can you do enough during the other part of the concert where you make them sit also during that time?
That was my question.
You know,
so
both are possible.
What can someone do to do that? I was coming to that question.
I mean, I don't think there's anything rule of thumb, but I think Mridangam playing in a Carnatic concert has enough potential for you to sit them down during that time also. And then in addition to that, if someone still wants to get up, that's fine. It's okay. This kind of draconian, don't talk, don't go on your phone, don't get up. I would never say that, because it's amazing that they came there. They could be anywhere else, and this is such a niche activity of pleasure. You know, try to do what you can to kind of make them enjoy whatever it is that they've come to pay money to come see you do. That's what I'm saying. It's easy to act like a hero sitting with a microphone that blasts an opinion in front of everybody. But if I was a vocalist, or I mean, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't. It's their choice. Did you know they were gonna come before you started your concert? I don't have any guarantee that the moment that curtain goes up, whatever it is, it's going to be completely full. We don't know. So that's the thing. I don't think necessarily it needs to be one that if they walk out, it reflects the quality of what you do. Mm-hmm. Two, I don't think it's also necessary that you need to sit and listen to something you don't like. There's a lack of people actually coming and telling you what they think. Right?
The truth.
Yeah? And so then in addition to that, the positive reinforcement of people constantly saying you are amazing makes you equally err on the side that's saying, look, everyone has said I'm so good, why should this person get up? But it's false. It's completely anybody with a certain amount of or I don't know, maybe if you're saying nobody else has said this, I'm not sure about it, but I'm always cringing anytime you get these superlatives hurled at you. When people are like, the amazing, this, that. And it's fine. I mean, okay, it's good. You had a good time. That's fine. I don't. So it's a very normal thing. It doesn't, music should be something that's enjoyable to yourself. It gives you an incredible amount of happiness. But I do it because I love it. So that's why I said it's a privilege that I do something I love and enough people actually come there. Imagine. And for me to then say, don't do this, don't do that, put this down, sit like this, it's a little... I wouldn't do that.
You have so many instruments on stage. You sometimes have 2 acoustic tamburas. Mm-hmm, you have an electronic tambura, maybe with a speaker. Then you have...
And they're not all in tune with each other.
That's exactly what I was coming to.
And
you have
then there's
so many
a
things.
law of average in tune that kind of keeps changing over the time of the concert.
Right.
This is all very tough to make someone understand because it sounds different everywhere you sit, even on that stage.
Yes, and it depends on the whole ambience of the hall, the soundproofing, and where the setup is. And the fact that except for the electronic tambura that's going to be at the same shruti continuously, everything
even
else...
then there's voltage differences on some of the venues.
That is also true. It's almost like you need a battery.
Here's a funny thing. Sometimes when I'm sitting on stage, and then I always have this habit of recording a lot of my concerts. Okay. I have this thing that I put. It sounds different there. So if this is the stage,
right,
and I'm sitting here, and I put a recorder like this, and then I come home and listen to it, it sounds different there. So the orientation of where you are on that stage with respect to how far away you are from certain shruti sources, whether it's a tambura or whether... And then you have people, honestly, I'm telling you, who, because of the monitors, they're actually... so there's a tambura behind them. There's this tambura in front of them coming from the monitor. And then they have these things called side fills, speakers on the side.
Right.
And so there's this huge signal of a tambura coming from the iPod, the speaker, and this and that. So because of that, and because they have the opportunity to do that, their level of singing, or their level of whatever it is that they're doing, becomes so much higher than what they normally sing at and practice at home. Because no one is training in these environments. Right. And there's no real way to kind of know what's good. It's just you get used to it after 20 minutes, and then we spend 3 hours together, and then our ears just go, okay, this is how it is, right? So all of those things, they're also discovering how to sing during the course of a concert. So the Mridangam also will change with that. If I play it louder and louder and louder, it's going to change. And so then I have to compensate for saying, okay, I'm going to start the song, but then I'm going to tune it 4 to 10 cents flat. That's because when I play louder and louder, it's going to get sharper. So these kind of nuances, I don't know how many people even pick it out, but when you can hear it, it's tough to play when it's not in tune.
So when you do retune in the middle of a program, what are you retuning it to? So amongst you have so many
there's
inputs
some
here.
law of average of whatever it is that
so
I
you
sound.
decide.
It changes. And it changes in concerts.
So one time it could be one thing, another time could be something else.
It's just the overall sound
Just
of
how it
of
feels
whatever
at that
it is.
moment.
You know, it's a very, very tough thing sometimes, and more and more, the sound levels in which concerts I'm, being a part of, the more and more I think it's that overall mess of all of these sources and stuff. It's harder to figure out, okay, what is it that we're actually all kind of tuning ourselves to? Is it the voice? Because it's the loudest signal usually.
Right.
That's going to be the thing you tune to.
Right.
So even though you have 5 thampuras, if this person is singing about 10 cents sharper,
Right.
and he or she's louder than those things, ultimately the mridangam is going to be only going to kind of try to match with.
Right.
Right?
It's whatever is the predominant sound at that
so
moment.
the loudest tone is what you're trying to tune yourself to. And that's sometimes unfortunate because the whole thing is messy. But that's part of the demands of the thing. That's part of making music. You got to do that.
What do you think of women in percussion? Why don't we have enough, or what can we do?
I don't know. I've
to
said
encourage
somewhere
them?
that I wish more women played percussion.
No, that's what. Why do you think they don't?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Is it? Do they feel? Inhibited because
How can
they
I
think it
speak on their
requires?
behalf? I can only tell you that I wish they did it. Whatever capacity that it is that I have to maybe empower a few women who genuinely want to do it, sure, I'll do it. But I can't
Right. I
speak
understand.
on behalf of why.
No, just as an artist, we have a few women percussionists.
Not
there's-
many mridangam players.
And I've always wondered why there are so few. I know a lot of girls who are interested in pursuing percussion, but they don't.
They should do it.
They don't. At some point they're dissuaded. There's so much pressure from the family, from friends. Do you think it requires so much power that a woman can't do it?
There's a deep femininity in that drum for sure. That probably, at some point, some woman is going to just completely be able to unleash that, and the mridangam is going to be changed forever. For sure, there's enough evidence for how beautiful those two entities are. So I don't know. It's just too tough a question to answer. There's just so much historical, reasons why they were discouraged. Is it strenuous? Yes. Is it a very strenuous? Am I exhausted after demanding concerts? Yes, I'm wiped out.
Okay.
Does that mean a woman cannot do that? No, she could do it. Is it? I don't know. I would dare not say why, or would I? I think the thing I would like to say is, if me being vocal about it, even though I'm quite minuscule in the grand scheme of things, if me being vocal about saying more women should do it encourages a few people to do it, I'm a very happy person. Whether or not they end up doing it, I don't know. But if someone is saying, look, it seems like, he's saying we could do it and I want to do it, that I could not be happier. But that being said, it's not an isolated thing. So many things have to go right. So even some woman's humongously strong-willed desire to do this may not result in whatever it is that she ends up being realized as with respect to a mridangam player. One, you need this just humongously talented person to come and just shut everyone up just by sheer just skill level. No man is going to say well, I can still be louder than you, or where she's just you know what, everything that you could be good at, first
Anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, I've already
That's all.
not even better, 10 times better. Where you just can't say anything. This other just humongously favorable circumstance where this lady is just born to kind of just destroy all of these things.
Yeah.
And then it's a question of the society then saying, okay, we'll let this kind of flower properly. You can make that situation you can't take somebody who's from that background with all the privileges and say, look, you're going to play 10 hours a day, you're going to have the best instruments, you're going to have the best people to accompany, but then eventually, like, if that's not something else that makes that gift so apparent, like a Mandolin Shrinivas version of, you know what I mean, where it's just out of the blue you get this person who's just blowing people's minds.
Yes.
So that kind of situation, I'm sure it'll happen. I'm just hoping I can be around to see it. Because that would actually be kind of fun.
Right.